How are you today, dear students? We're going to talk about the first grammar lesson in Unit 4, and that is talking about the future, page 33. So we're going to talk today about the different forms of the future. So let's take a look at the future forms. Number 1, form will. After will, we put the verb in the infinitive, and we use it for what? So usage, number 1, to make offers and promises to do something. So for example, I will help you to carry the bag. So it's an offer. She will take her daughter to the zoo tomorrow. It's a promise. We use form will also, number 2, to make requests. So for example, will you get me some tea, please? It's a request. Number 3, to make decisions at the moment of speaking, and we call that spontaneous decisions. So we are out of oil. I will go to the store to buy some. It's cold. I will close the window. So it's spontaneous, and these are decisions at the moment of speaking. Number 4, to make decisions or to make predictions about what you think will happen. And here, these predictions are without evidence. So, that's why we use special verbs to show that these are predictions without evidence. These verbs are think, expect, hope, suppose, believe, know, and also we use the word probably. So, for example, I think my parents will let me go to the party. So I think. So it's not sure. They are predictions, but I don't have a proof. She hopes Brazil will win the World Cup. Also, we use the form will for threats. If you don't pay the money, I will take you to the manager. It's a threat. And the last one, to talk about facts in the future. For example, my son will be 12 next year. It's a fact that will happen in the future. We all remember how to change this form into negative. So we put will plus not plus verb in the infinitive, or won't plus verb in the infinitive. So for example, she will not write a letter, or she won't write a letter. To form questions, we put will plus verb in the infinitive. So we use will as a helping verb. So for yes/no question, will she write a letter? Yes, she will, or no, she won't. For WH questions, what will she write? The second form to talk about the future is form be, going to. So we use verb to be, am, is, or are, plus going to plus verb in the infinitive. Usage. Remember, you have to study the usages for each form very well, because you have to differentiate between the usages of each form in order to correct the verbs. So for the usage of verb to be plus going to plus verb in the infinitive, we use it for plans we have already decided to do before the moment of speaking, or we can say personal intention. So we're going to travel to Italy next week. Of course, traveling to Italy needs plans. We have to tell our family and friends, we have to book a ticket, we have to get a visa, and so on. I have decided that I am going to study maths. I am going to invite my friend to my wedding party. So in this one, it's kind of a personal intention. I intend to invite my friend to my wedding party. Number 2, we use it for predictions that are based on present evidence. Remember, we used the form will plus verb in the infinitive when we talked about predictions without evidence or without a proof. But we use the form verb to be plus going to plus verb in the infinitive for predictions but with evidence. So there are a lot of dark clouds in the sky. It's going to rain tonight. And this is my proof. The dark clouds in the sky. Be careful, you're going to fall. Also, we use it for intentions or for personal intentions, as we said before. I'm going to buy a dress for my sister's birthday. This is my intention. This is what I intend to do. How can we change this form into negative? We put, of course, verb to be, am, is, or are, plus not, plus going to, plus verb in the infinitive. So she's not going to spend her vacation in London. And to form questions, again, we use verb to be, am, is, are as helping verbs. We put the subject, going to, plus verb in the infinitive. So for yes, no questions, is she going to make dinner tonight? For WH questions, what is she going to make tonight? The keywords for the future are tonight, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, in 2 days, in a week, and so on. The day after tomorrow, soon, in the future. Also, we use the present continuous tense to talk about the future. So we form the present continuous tense with verb to be plus verb plus ing. But we use it only for plans or arrangements we have already made for a specific time in the future with other people. So we say who we are doing something with, where and when we are doing this thing. So for example, Tom is meeting John at the club at 7 p.m. tomorrow. So here I mentioned the person that I'm going to meet, I mentioned the place, and I mentioned also the time. Number 2, we use the present continuous tense to talk about the future when we want to talk about near future. So I am playing football tomorrow. It's near future. We use the present simple to talk about the future if we wanted to talk about timetabled or scheduled activities or events. So we use it for timetabled or scheduled activities or events only in the future. So the train arrives at 6:30 this afternoon. The meeting starts at 10 p.m. Okay, so these are all the forms that we use for the future. let's check your book. Future tenses. There are different ways of talking about the future in English. The tense you use depends on the situation. So arrangements, we use the present continuous to talk about something that we have already arranged to do, often with other people. And we said also that we sometimes also mention the place and the time. So plans, we use going to with an infinitive to talk about personal plans that we have decided to do. So they are either personal plans or personal intentions. Timetables, we use the present simple to talk about events that have been timetabled, as we mentioned before. Spontaneous decisions, we use will to talk about decisions made at the moment of speaking. Offers and promises, we use will to make offers and promises. Predictions, we use both will and going to make predictions. We often use the verbs believe, expect, hope, think, etc. when we make predictions with will, because I don't have a proof. They are predictions without evidence. Going to is used to make predictions based on the present evidence that you have. So they are predictions with evidence. Present continuous or going to plus infinitive. The present continuous is used with a future time expression to talk about the near future. It's often used when we say who we are doing something with and where and when. So I'm playing tennis with Kate at the sports club at 7 o'clock. Here I mentioned the person I'm doing the activity with, I mentioned the place, and I mentioned the time. But going to plus infinitive is often used when we talk about personal intentions and plans that we have made. For example, I have decided that I'm going to study Chinese. And that's the end of the lesson.